birding columnist, Malkolm Boothroyd.
But Malcolm, always on the lookout for birds for a new day, has spotted some familiar friends along Mexico's Baja Peninsula and is on the line to fill us in. Good morning.
Buenos dias, Daddy.
You're obviously getting in the mood down there. Is there anything different about watching them down there or how they would act as compared to when they're up here?
How they act in winter is totally different than how they act in summer. Their plumage, their feathers, change completely, like a spotted sandpiper. Yet in the summer, it has an orange bill, a brown back, and a white chest covered with large black spots. But in the winter, it's just a gray and white bird.
I'm Malkolm Boothroyd, and I'm 12 years old. I've been in the Arctic 6 times. The life's simpler up in the Arctic than in the small town of Whitehorse where I live. You don't have hot water and dish soap to wash your dishes. You've only got gravel and salt water. You have cards and driftwood to keep you busy instead of all the modern technology. The longest that we've been out in the refuge was probably this last trip, which was about 4 weeks probably. We traveled by foot and by sea kayak. We hiked out into the mountains to find the Bluethroat, and then we sea kayaked along icy reef to Kaktovik. If there's a strong headwind, it's hard. And when you put in long days, you get sore arms. Most of the food that we eat in the Arctic is dried stuff. So the months before we go up there, my parents are drying beans and all sorts of stuff. If we don't dry the food, it would go bad. So, and it's a light way to store the food and carry it with us. Between cooking, dishwashing, and sleeping, we have time for hiking and leisure activities, which include playing cards and playing sports with driftwood that we find on the beach. Cricket, which is an English sport in which you try to knock over wickets with a ball and you try to hit balls with a driftwood bat. So we play quite a lot of that. In the words of one of our Gwich'in friends, Norma Cassie, going to the Arctic refuge and exploring for oil would be like going into a hospital nursery and tearing that apart. She says that because the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge calving grounds is a birthing ground for caribou. I've seen calves very close up when I'm on the beach and they go trotting right past me. I was surprised how young they were and how boisterous they were, because human babies take a long time for them to learn to walk, but these babies can walk in less than, well, they're on their feet in a couple of hours after birth. There is one word that describes swimming in the Arctic called it was fun. The only reason that I went swimming in the Arctic is because I saw a seal swimming and I thought that I should feel how a seal feels. When somebody says there's a bear, I have a few moments of, what's the word? Stomach plummeting, and then until I see where the bear is. There are billions of mosquitoes out there. In the morning, you wake up and you look on the tent and you see a bunch of little black bodies on the yellow fabric. And you get up and you put your bug net on. And when a herd of caribou comes by, there are less mosquitoes because those bunch of caribou are sharing the billions of mosquitoes with you. To me, the mosquitoes sound like bzzz. That drives me crazy. The migratory birds come from many different continents and all the states of the United States to go to this special place. There are over 135 species of birds that go there. These bird species go there because it is a good habitat for nesting. There are willows, there are relatively few predators there, and they go there because there is a good source of food. Golden plovers come all the way up from South America, this very southern South America that is, to go to the Arctic Refuge, and they are a very startling plover with a black face and chest and a golden and black back with a flowery call that goes like tulip. You can't say plover without saying lover. Tundra swans come from Chesapeake Bay and nearby areas to go to the Arctic Refuge. I've seen quite a few up there. They stand out because there's no other bird that's as big and as white as them. All of the New World warblers, that is the North American warblers that go to the Arctic Refuge, come from Latin America, Belize and Guatemala to the Arctic Refuge. This is an amazing flight for a bird that is very small, only about 5 inches. Bluethroats come all the way up through Asia, across the Bering Strait to the Arctic Refuge, which is very cold. Bluethroats are very small. They are the most striking bird that I've ever seen. They have a forget-me-not blue throat with a rufous spot in the middle, and the rest of their body is very drab. Actually, there were 2 main reasons for me wanting to find the bluethroat. One is that it is such an amazing bird, and 2 is that my sister Kristen saw it a few years before I saw it. She was teasing me, saying, "Only good birders see bluethroats." We hiked 130 kilometers, carrying heavy packs to get to the place where we saw the bluethroat. Bluethroats are elusive, and they nest in thick willows along creeks. We found the bluethroat on Bluethroat Creek, which we named it because it is a heavily willowed creek. It was a perfect place for a bluethroat to nest, and we found one. But we had to go 3 times to find it. The first time, a grizzly wandered down the hill, and we had to scoot away. The second time, we were distracted by about 50,000 caribou walking by. Wow, I've never seen so many caribou in one place before. There were caribou everywhere, streaming across the tundra, galloping down the mountains, splashing through the creeks. We spent about 3 hours taking pictures of them, and then we headed back to our camp, and the caribou were going the same way as we were, so we were walking with the caribou. There are more caribou than I've ever seen before. And the third time, we found it. I was so excited to see the bird that I had hiked to see. This is incredible. A bird that is very small, traveling all the way from hot Asia across the Bering Strait. Well, that's amazing. So after I saw it, I got to go say to her, well, an okay birder can see a bluethroat, but only good birders hike 130 miles and actually find the bluethroat. If I saw oil rigs on the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge grounds, I would feel really sorry for the caribou and all the animals that had their homes destroyed, the Gwich'in would feel like an old tradition was taken away from them. Prudhoe Bay is an industrial waste. Before the oil rigs came to Prudhoe Bay, it could have been like the Arctic Refuge. If a bill was passed to allow drilling in the Arctic Refuge, then the Arctic Refuge would turn into a Prudhoe Bay. There's no way that you can drill in the Arctic Refuge without harming the wildlife. Big business people would be happy to get oil drilled out of some place a long ways away that they don't feel the impact of, but if they discovered oil under the White House, they would say, no way to drilling. When I'm 50 and our kids can have a place to go and see the environment, if our parents destroy this place, then the generations will have no place to go and see what it's like out there. I have not seen anywhere else like the Arctic Refuge. There is no other place like it.